Let's jump into this next topic, guys, because this is kind of a sensitive topic, and I kind of wanted to delay this just because I don't want to think of these guys on other teams per se, just because I'm still basking in the glow of that World Series title, and all these guys contributed in one way or the other. And there's 9 guys, really. I mean, there's a couple of locks. Obviously, Kevin Kiermaier is one. He's a lock. Kevin Kiermaier, who I guess I'll always have the take where I said that he was the best Dodgers outfielder in the history of this franchise, but it was kind of short-lived. They didn't really have that many opportunities to do that. So since he didn't get the opportunities, I'm going to kind of go back to Bellinger, kind of just because of what he meant to this team and the plays he made during the 2020 postseason. Then the second one, Daniel Hudson. Daniel Hudson has already said that he's retiring. He came back for a World Series championship. They won that. Huddy was big, not just as a pitcher, but a mentor, taking some of these young guys, just talking to guys like Ben Casperius and these young Dodgers pitchers. He was invaluable. He was absolutely invaluable. Then Joe Kelly. So Joe Kelly is an interesting one. Joe Kelly didn't have his best season. He got injured, and he ended up with a 4.78 ERA in 32 innings, pitched in 35 games this year, and the stuff wasn't as good. I mean, when you looked at how he looked last year when they traded for him from the White Sox to the Dodgers, I remember talking to Joe Kelly and asking him about the stats and ERA and this and that and what stats he looks at. And he's like, look at the FIP. He told me that minor league teams, professional teams, they're not even looking at some of the traditional stuff that we're looking at. And all of his underlying stuff pointed to him being better than what his numbers were saying that he was. And that was the truth. And that's why he ended up having more success with the Dodgers. He had a 16.5 strikeouts per 9. But unfortunately, this year, those numbers have dropped. The strikeouts per 9 went to 16.5 down to 9.8. The whip went from 871 with the Dodgers down to up to 14.69. The ERA last year with LA was 1.74. This year was at 4.78. Now, if he wanted to come back on a small deal, maybe they go that route. Maybe he helps another team out there. I could see him potentially being back just because loves SoCal, loves being near his family. There's not a 0% chance, but when you look at how this bullpen shapes up, it's definitely a question mark right now. So Joe Kelly's one. Blake Treinen is the big one. Blake Treinen is the big one of, does he come back? Now, Blake is a certified hero for the Dodgers in the postseason. We know why Antonio loves Blake Treinen, right?
Why is that?
He's a great pitcher.
He's one of the best I've seen. Have you seen him after the dugout when in Game 5? He's just pumped up, high fiving. He's like, "Let's effing go!" Let's go! Like it looked like a bulldog. I loved it.
He's a dog, man. We had the pitching ninja on the show, and I asked pitching ninja. I said, "Hey, where does Blake Treinen rank as far as your all-time just nastiest dudes that you've posted?" He's like, he is the nastiest guy. He's number 1. So when the pitching ninja, who all he does for a living is analyze pitchers who throw disgusting stuff, nastier than a gas station bathroom level stuff, yeah, that's very telling. So you add the fact that he was an absolute hero for the Dodgers in the postseason. Just look at Game 5, throws 42 pitches in there in the 6th. Dave Roberts was going to possibly take him out of the game. He goes out there before he's facing Stanton, and Blake tells Dave Roberts, "This is my guy. I want him. This is my guy." Dave Roberts puts both his hands on him, makes sure that he still has it, likes what he heard from him, and then he goes out. And then Treinen gets Stanton to pop out. Now, Dave said on Mookie's podcast that he was going to come back out there and get the ball before he faced Volpe, but then Freddie Freeman kind of got Dave Roberts eye contact and with his glove kind of told Dave to just stay in the dugout to shoo him. And the fact that Blake Treinen did not look at Dave Roberts trusted him to stay in the game. Had Blake Treinen looked over at Doc for a split second, he would have been out of that ball game. But Blake stayed in the game. He gets Volpe out, and the rest is history. So you add the fact that he was great in the postseason, loves being a Dodger, loves Dave Roberts, and Dave hinted at wanting him back. I think that Blake Treinen is a really good chance he's back with the Dodgers. Kiké Hernandez is the next one. So the fifth one, Kiké Hernandez. Number 5, Kiké. How do you not bring Kiké back? To me, I've literally gone back, I think it's 144 into my DVR. I memorized the 5th inning into my DVR because I've watched it so many times. I fast forward to 144, watch that 5th inning again. This baseball savvy, I mean, Rojas told us, Mookie has said on his podcast, this is not just a funny guy who's a great role player. People say Kiké is one of the smartest baseball players they've ever seen. And what really stands out is the rallies that changed everything were started by him. That 5th inning was a base hit by Kiké Hernandez. Also, the error on Aaron Judge. I mean, check that, Aaron Judge. Kiké was distracting him. And you can see as the ball goes to Aaron Judge, he's about to make that routine catch. Hadn't had one error all season. He takes his eye off the ball for 1 second because he's looking at Kiké. I don't know, was Kiké twerking? Did he have the banana suit on? I mean, I don't know what it was. But just his presence, he makes things happen. He is the Dodgers' human catalyst out there. And then he rounded when on the play where it was the Will Smith ground ball, he rounds that base and gets in the eyesight of Anthony Volpe that I think caused that error in the bad throw to Jazz Chisholm. So look, Kiké Hernandez, he is really the heart and soul of this team in a lot of different ways. And he wins in the postseason. Remember, it's about the postseason. Parades over prospects, but also veterans win. And I also think, too, look at the market out there for Kiké. What's it really going to be? Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to Kiké Hernandez, is dude turns into Babe Ruth at times, right? I mean, he turns into an elite postseason, Albert Pujols in the postseason at times. But in the regular season, he just has not ever for a full season put it together where you can say, all right, we want to give Kiké $50 million because he can be that guy. I mean, the truth is in the postseason, he's a different hitter. Postseason Kiké, his numbers, he has a 120 OPS plus, a 120 OPS plus, an 874 OPS. That 874 OPS in the postseason, you compare that to what he does in the regular season, the OPS goes to 713. He's average in the regular season, elite at times in the postseason, comes up in big spots. So I just don't think there's going to be tons of teams lining up for what he can do for them in the postseason, because there's not a lot of teams out there that'll say, oh, we're guaranteed a deep run in the postseason, so we're going to get that value from Kiké Hernandez. The Dodgers are one of those teams where, hey, they made the postseason 12 consecutive years. They know what they're going to get for him. So the update on Kiké, though, is that on his Instagram, he took the Dodgers out of his bio, and now his hat is a blank hat that has a question mark on it. So bring back Mr. Keektober. I don't think it would break the bank. He can provide valuable depth at third base too. If with Max Muncy still there, they're not trading for Nolan Arenado, let's be honest, or anyone really. At third base is Max Muncy's, but he hasn't done well against lefties. So you're going to want Kiké Hernandez potentially there if he gets injured, or in a platoon situation. He's going to find a role for this team. So bring back Kiké Hernandez. If nothing else, we could try to sell more t-shirts. But next Dodger that could be gone is Teoscar Hernandez. And Teo, this is the touchy subject. And his agent, I mean, I can't read his whole tweet, but it's his agent, Rafa Nieves. He tweeted a couple of weeks ago that 9 months ago, every agent criticized me and Teo for taking a one-year deal. The truth is the market was soft for everyone, and he was coming off a down year while playing in a very pitcher-friendly environment. We were looking for a 3-year deal, and while reading the market and realizing that deal might not exist, I asked him what his priority was, and he said he wanted to go and win and to play deep in October. So we pivoted and focused on getting the best short-term deal on the best team interested. So the big takeaway there is, one, sometimes those prove it to yourself, those one-year deals, prove it to the league that you still have, that you're worth more. They work, and oftentimes they work when you're in good organizations, and certainly it couldn't have paid off any more for Teoscar Hernandez. Makes the All-Star team, wins the Dodgers' first home run derby championship, was clutch throughout the postseason. Look, his 2-run double there in the 5th inning was massive. I mean, you can make a case it was one of the top 5 most impactful hits during the postseason run, maybe even top 2, 3, right? I mean, that's how big that was, because you don't tie that game, you don't win that game. Maybe this is a very different and dark show that we're having today. So he is someone that fits in this lineup. He's coming off an incredible season. He had 272, 339, had a 501 slug, hit 33 home runs, had a 134 weighted runs created plus, so he's 34% above league average. And he totally proved that last year was an aberration. So last year with the Mariners in that pitcher's park, wasn't a great situation, had a 106 weighted runs created plus, so he's just 6% above league average. That number jumped to 134. So from 106 to 134, 100's league average, remember, 6% above league average with the Mariners, 34% above league average with the Dodgers. And he signed a $23 million deal, had $8 million of that deferred, and he was the perfect right-handed hitter in the heart of this Dodgers lineup. And the things that make you feel good about signing him long-term, I think outweigh anything that doesn't. The con would be he's going to be in his 32 season. His age 32 season next year could turn some teams off, could turn former eras of the Dodgers off, could possibly lead to teams wanting a shorter-term deal. But when you look at his contact rates and when you look how things have trended for him, he's showing no signs of slowing down. He has so much left in the tank that I look at this window right now with the Dodgers. I think you have to win as many championships with Shohei Ohtani in the first 5 years. Forget the last 5. If you win them, they're great. But you can't bank on him being the unicorn, the greatest show in baseball for the last 5. Try to squeeze out as many pieces of metal in the first 5. I think that has to be the priority. And with Teoscar Hernandez, I mean, this is someone who's never in his career posted an exit velo under 90 miles per hour or a hard hit rate under 46%. The barrel rate at 14.3%, I mean, that is almost double the 7.8% league average. So he barrels the ball up at twice the rate that the league average is. And that's how you win. Hard hit balls, barreling up balls. And really the con, I mean, if you want to point out the strikeouts, 28.8% strikeout rate, does ground out a good amount, but still the hard hit rate, the damage that he does, it outweighs it. It outweighs it when you look at the intangibles too. I mean, this is a guy who literally, of all the people that were at that rally, think about this. Think about the Dodgers championship rally, right? Think about it. Clayton Kershaw, who was basically a WWE wrestler out there. Dodgers for life, right? Of all the guys out there, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, all the guys out there, Friedman, Dave Roberts, Kiké, who was the one guy that was crying, who was literally emotional? It was Teoscar Hernandez. And mind you, these guys are all multimillionaires. These guys all have generational wealth. But for a player to love what this franchise did for him and be that moved me as a fan, as an analyst, as a host of this show to say, you know what, this guy freaking bleeds Dodger blue, right? And he got a taste of it and he doesn't want anything else. So that leads me to believe that he's willing to work on a deal that makes sense for both sides. And with the fact that Mookie Betts is going to be in the infield, that opens up right field. And in left field, yes, the defensive metrics weren't great. As a corner outfielder, they didn't grade out well, but it was the first time he had played left since 2021. And right, it's a better situation for him. He's more comfortable. But let's not forget, I mean, throughout Giancarlo Stanton, remember, it takes 5 business days to get home for him. BBL Stanton, right? He let me give myself a bruh for that one. Well deserved. So I think it makes a ton of sense. I really see, if you want to give him a 3-year deal, I have no problem giving him a 3-year, $70 million deal. 3-year, $70 million with the player, with the club option at the end. I think it's a no-brainer. Give me Teoscar, give me Willy Adames, trade for a starter. let's run it back and go back to back. I think that's the move. But we'll talk more about Teo too in depth as the winter rolls along. But a team to look out for that scares me. I'm not saying I'm trying to LeVar Ball manifest this, right? But I fear him as a Red Sox. After watching that Red Sox doc, I could like see him in a Red Sox uniform. The Red Sox were the one team that offered him a 2-year, $28 million deal last offseason. Could he be on the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Giants with Buster Posey? The Giants would love to sign a Dodger that would piss off the fans. So a lot of teams, who doesn't need a guy that just absolutely demolishes left-handed pitching? Was the Dodgers' best, most clutch hitter last season. So I got to have my Teoscar back, the Teoscar Hernandez. Now, next one, number 7, Walker Buehler. Now, Walker Buehler is an interesting case because you don't need to give him on a multi-year deal. If Walker Buehler says, I want to be back on a 3-year deal, it's Walker. We love you, man, but good luck with that. Because I think the best that he can do is a 2-year deal with an opt-out after 1. 2 years, $30 million, opt-out after 1. But I also think there's a world where he signs a 1-year deal at $15 million, similar to what Jack Flaherty did last year with the Detroit Tigers. And there's a reason why the Dodgers did not extend him the qualifying offer. And it's because they knew he would probably have taken it. He would have taken that qualifying offer, right? And then, look, that's the thing, Dodgers too. They extended that qualifying offer to Teoscar Hernandez. That could scare teams away, right? That's kind of how it works with the QO. But Buehler is an interesting case because in his 16 starts, he had a 5.38 ERA and 75 1/3 innings. And the home run ball was hurting him all season, gave 2 home runs per 9. Almost 2 home runs per 9. That's not a good mark. And he had just an 18.6% strikeout rate, 8.2% swinging strike rate. That was lower than league average, than his career averages. It was not Walker Buehler in the regular season. The fastball velocity was pretty consistent, did not get the swing and miss or the missed bats that we've seen. But the biggest wild card here is he came alive in the postseason. After those 6 runs he gave up in 5 innings against the Padres, which was largely due to that nightmare second inning, he went scoreless for the rest of the postseason. He had scoreless appearances against the Mets and the Yankees, had 13 scoreless innings to end the postseason, had 11 combined with the Mets and the Yankees. And he gets that final out too. The guy could be a reliever, right? In a key spot for you, in a big spot. So I see him signing at the very most a 2-year deal with an opt-out after 1. But I also think if he enters the 1-year, $15 million territory and signs a deal similar to Jack Flaherty does, it has to be the Dodgers if they want him back. Kind of based on who you talk to right now, it seems like there's a little less confidence about Buehler being back than maybe a Kiké Hernandez. But Buehler's smart. He wants to be in this Dodgers organization. He said he wants to be back as long as they'll keep him and have him. So that's going to be a situation where I'm pretty sure the Dodgers are going to say, yeah, let's see what we do this offseason. We're going to a 6-man rotation. We know that injuries are inevitable, but if you're Buehler, if you're not guaranteed a spot in this rotation, it doesn't matter how much money they're going to give you, you're not coming back. And that's just the truth, because he needs this situation where he can make as many starts as he can so he can prove to teams out there that he's worth $100+ million, because that's his goal. Walker Buehler's goal. He wants to be $100+ million pitcher, right? That's what he was during the first part of his career. So I love Butane back. It's not as much, it's more of an emotional thing than a team thing. And to think that he's going to be what he was in the postseason for a full regular season, I think he can be good. I think that his ceiling right now is a number 3 starter that has moments where he pitches like a 2. And then if the adrenaline is at a 10 in the postseason, he can go out there and shove for you in a big spot. I love me some Walker Buehler, some Butane, right? But I just don't know if I see him come back. How about you, Tony Taters? Is Buehler going to be back? What's your gut tell you?
I think he'll be back for sure. He's got a little, I'm sure he's stoked for getting the World Series ring, but I know he wants to play a full season with the Dodgers. So I'm confident the Dodgers will bring him back. Maybe he'll take a discount, not a hometown discount, but a discount. You never know. I think
that he probably realized that if I'm in this organization, it'll probably give me the best opportunity to have a successful year. Yeah. Because if he has, honestly, the good thing for him next year would probably just be have a baller regular season, ball out in the postseason, and go out there and sign a big deal. But even if he has just a good regular season, then he can put himself in a better payday. But I don't know. Could be a Ferris Bueller year on, and then he goes out there and signs a big deal. But next one, a couple more here, Gavin Lux. So the next one that could be back is Gavin Lux. And Gavin Lux won't be back potentially because of a signing. It's because of a trade. We talked about Gavin Lux. So I think with Gavin Lux, it's all signs are pointing to the Dodgers trading him because he doesn't make sense as a bench bat. They're not going to put him in the outfield. They're not going to put him at third next season. What do you do with Gavin Lux? So whether they trade him for an impact starter, whether they trade him to the Brewers for someone like a Devin Williams, whether they trade him for some prospects that they could keep off the 40-man roster, almost a Jackson Ferris type, like high upside guys, there's certainly that world. But I think that this is almost a mutual thing. We know how much you want to be a Dodger, but what I was told today from someone, from an insider, is why not let him go he needs to be a star somewhere else. And he has star potential, but it might not be for this team based on where they're at in their run. And I hope Gavin Lux, goes out there and is an option somewhere. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. If they don't sign Willy Adames and you don't trade for a shortstop, maybe you have a platoon situation with Lux and Rojas, potentially you could do that. But I just don't see it. I think they want their shortstop. They know that that's an important position to fill. And I think that it's almost a situation where you do right by Gavin Lux. Do you trade him to the Blue Jays for a Bo Bichette, maybe a Kevin Gausman, and you extend Gausman? I mean, there's all these options that you can use. Think outside the box. But a couple super chats here, and we'll let you guys enjoy your Friday. I'm hungry. I need a torta, man. Francisco Diaz, $9.99. Dodgers need to keep the main thing, and take care of their own. Re-sign Teo, Kiké, Big Game Walker, and Treinen. All the other shiny toys can't wait. It's a fire take right there. Esteban, $4.99. 2024 was the Dodgers' year, and we had the home run derby champ, 50-50, and a nice piece of metal at the end of the year. It's a comment of the show right there. We got Abstract, $5. The thing that shocked me was Teo crying about how much he loved his team, and Friedman didn't even use the opportunity to indicate he won him back. That's not what Friedman's going to do. I mean, I trust me. I do own a tinfoil hat too. I love to read into things as well, but the Friedman is all business, man. He's not going to tip his hands right there. You want to keep that leverage, even if you like the guy. Chris Frostaker, Dodgers for life. D-Mac, you almost made me crash. You should do that every episode. Had me rolling. Hey, man, I just love Kershaw for doing that. Beer Sama, D-Mac, what would be a respectable offer for Teo to come back? I mean, anything, 3 years, anything from 65 to 74 million, I think. When you look at the AAV there, would certainly push it up the top. Could you get 4 years, 85 million with a club option? I mean, do you stretch it to lower the AAV as a possibility as well? But I think you're looking at less than 100 million for Teoscar Hernandez. Just he's entering his age 32 season, and I think he makes sense for a championship contender. I don't think he makes sense for an organization to be the face of your franchise, your number 3 hitter that's not surrounded by talent. He makes all the sense in the world for the Dodgers. Pika Peep, Kiké fits the Dodgers like a well-tailored glove. It's a fire take. It's a home run right there. Mario Torres trying to get all that spin without the spider tag. Yeah, I'm telling you, guy is a dog with it. Here's German Huerta. My Christmas list: 1 Ohtani DH, 2 Soto right field, 3 Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Adames, Muncy, Smith, and Kiké. James Bostrom, bring back Teo Hernandez. D-Mac, where's Dustin May going to fit in? Ken Warm, we'll see. I'm going to try to get Dustin May on pretty soon here to talk about his offseason. He was at the championship parade. We know his stuff. Moves more than military family. We've been waiting for Dustin Mania. Will that be next season? Look, you saw Blake Treinen. Maybe Dustin May is a reliever, because we know if there's someone that can rival Blake Treinen as far as just viral nasty stuff, it's D May. So I wanted him in this franchise too, for sure.